Hi, this is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to add beaded fringe to a brick stitch bead woven piece. So as you can see, I have a finished example on my table here. So this is a beautiful little fringe here that we're going to create, and I'm going to actually talk to you a little bit about the pattern and how I achieved that in just a moment here. But the brick stitch is this little diamond up here at the top. So you can see over here, this is what we're gonna start with. So this is what your finished brick stitch piece could look like, and then we're gonna add that fringe to the bottom. So brick stitch works really well by using the Miyuki 11-0 Delicas. You can also use the 10-0s, but there's something really elegant about the way the Delicas sit. You can of course use other seed beads, but the Miyuki Delicas are definitely my favorite choice. All right, so I'm going to be using some thread here, and this is NYMO in the size D, and this comes in a lot of different colors, so you can use it to just coordinate with whichever color of beads you're working with. And then I am going to show you how to attach a little jump ring and an earring hook when I'm all finished here. But let's go ahead, and I want to draw your attention over here. Let me kind of get that out of the way. And I've printed out the free pattern that you can get at beadaholique.com. So this is what the pattern looks like. Now, like I said, this is all the brick stitch up here at the top. And if you've done brick stitch before, you know that it needs a decrease. So it doesn't sort of, it naturally wants to go side to side. So this is a decrease. And we have videos showing you exactly how to do this. So I'm not going to do that in this video here. But just as a tip, I would always start at the widest point and do your decrease going up. Leave a nice long tail, because then what can happen is you can then do your decrease going down and use that really long tail to help you get those long little fringes there. So it actually allows you to not have to tie off and add new thread. You can absolutely do that, or if you find that you haven't cut enough thread, you can do that as well. But this is a way to have a really nice long tail. I'd say give it a few feet on the end and then a few feet towards the top there, so you can complete the top and then work your way down without having to add thread. So it's just a little tip. All right, so looking at our little piece here, and let me kind of bring it next to my pattern. It's a little different size there. But once you come to the end here, you're going to have your thread sticking out one of the ends. Now this is a pattern that is the same on both sides, so you can just kind of work with whichever side, or if you're right-handed or left-handed, it really doesn't matter. So what you're going to do is we're going to come down and we're going to add them as though this is a loom piece, but we're going to be treating it as though it's fringe. So we're going to work from the top to the bottom. All right, so let me show you how that looks. All right, set that aside. And like I said, I'm right-handed, so I like to hold it in my left hand and kind of keep this going down one side there. So all I need to do is follow my pattern. Now this particular pattern is going to sort of match some of the colors that are happening there. So I'm just going to be referring to my pattern here and pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the white, or the cream rather, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and just kind of checking because I want to make sure. 2 of the bronzy brown beads here, 2 of the cream, 2 of that reddish pink there, slide that down, 4 of the cream, 2, 3, and 4, come on. And now I'm going to pick up 5 of the brown, 3, 4, and 5. And now I'm going to pick up 3 of the pink. All right. So that is my whole pattern there. So I'm just going to bring that down and let it sit, just like so. Now, you'll notice that my NYMO is actually really stretched out, and that's kind of how I want it to be. Let me show you the difference here. So let's say I take it off my coil here, and look at how coiled up that is. That might not help your fringe sit really nicely. So what you can do is, as you take it off the coil, just kind of run it through your hands and give it a little tug. This will help kind of stretch out that NYMO, because it is nylon cord. It's very thin, but you can already see just running my hand over it once or twice, kind of giving it a little tug, lets it sit a little straighter, and this will help your fringe in the end. Just wanted to share that extra little tip for you in case you're having trouble getting your fringe to lay the way you want it to. All right, so I've done a fun little edge with my particular fringe here. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of scooch down those last 3 beads there. And I'm going to not go in, usually you'll skip over that first one and go into the rest of them, but I'm going to skip over all 3 and I'm going to go into the first bronze bead there, and I'm just going to run my needle all the way up to the top. If you have to kind of come out and go back, that's fine too. Make sure you catch all those beads there. But we want our needle to come up through that first bead in that brick stitch. So you see how it's come through the fringe, and now I'm coming up through that little ivory bead there, that cream bead. So now I'm going to pull this all the way through. And this is where you can kind of just adjust it a little bit. And I'm just pulling that all together. There we go. And making sure it comes up together and is tight. And then these 3 little beads will sort of sit in a little trio down there at the bottom. So I'll kind of turn that around for you so you can see that. So here's again where tension is important. If you pull it too tight, it's not going to be fringy. You see how stiff that kind of makes it, and it's all kind of wonky. So let it relax just a little bit on the table. You'll be able to kind of see it. Not too much, but just the right amount. And then, very simply, you take your thread here, and you're going to create a thread bridge, and you're going to go down through whatever that next bead is. And in this case, it's one of those little bronze beads right there. So let me pick that up to show you. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a little tiny thread bridge that's going to pop right into our design. Now you might need to give it a little tug to get it to go, but before you begin your fringe, see what happened? That already tightened up a little bit. So just give it a little wiggle and kind of make sure that that kind of stays just a little loose. And I would pick it up so you can make sure that it's not too loose, but just enough so it has that nice fringe happening there. And then you just continue by reading the next row down. And then once you get all the way to the other side there, you're just going to tie off and weave in your little tail. But that's how easy it is to add beaded fringe to brick stitch. All right, now once you're done with all of that, let's go ahead and add a jump ring. So I have a couple pairs of chain nose pliers here. Now the jump rings that work really well with this are going to be the 22 gauge, so you can do a 4mm or a 5mm. This one in particular is a 4. So I'm just going to open that up and give it a little twist. And because I have my little side bead at the top, I can just slide that through there and slide on my earring hook, just like so, and close that up. There you go. And now your earring is all set to go. So here again, you can see that finished piece, and you can see how that pattern continues from the top to the bottom there. Just in that lovely little fringe, you have those little trio of beads there to give a little extra movement. So I encourage you to make your own patterns using our free pattern template over at Beadaholique.com, and you can find that just by searching for brick stitch. Thanks so much for joining me. If you guys enjoyed our videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to get the latest from Beadaholique.